If you would, take your Bibles and turn to the 39th Psalm, and boys and girls can be dismissed into Life Kids. Today we're starting a new series. I'm going to preach on it today, and then next Sunday, Brother Ron Hardiman will be our guest preacher. He'll be preaching for us, and then I will finish up the last 2 Sundays of June on my series. Now, let me just share this with you. You can pray about it. There's a chance I may be going in the hospital this week to have some surgery. Some of you know that I'm having some kidney failure, and they're going to probably put me on dialysis pretty soon. And so they got to hook me up with all the tubes. I'm planning on taking dialysis at night at home, so I can sleep and take dialysis. And they say that during the day I'll be able to do whatever I need to do. So I still feel like I'll be able to pastor and do what I need to do. I just have to be real nice to my wife so she don't unplug me in the middle of the night. So I'm going to have to be nice to her. So you pray for me. That may be this week and it may not. They're supposed to let me know when the surgeon can do it. So, but I'm planning on being here next Sunday if I can get everything taken care of. But today we're talking about 30 days to live. That's going to be for this month. We're thinking about that. And here's what I want you to do. And I know it's not easy to do this, but I want you to try to do this. Imagine that the doctor told you you only have 30 days to live. How would that change your life? Would that change you? Would it change what you do? Would it change your priorities? Would it change how you spent your money? Would it change how you spent your time? I guess it was about 8 or 9 years ago. I went in the hospital, had some problems, and there was one night that they thought I was going to die. And I don't think I was. But when they started acting like I was going to, then I started thinking about it. And I remember praying and saying, Lord, I really don't want to die right now. And if you'll let me live, I'm going to change my priorities. And I'm going to, and I was always trying to, since I've been saved for 39 years, tried to serve the Lord. But I said, Lord, I'll step on the accelerator a little more, and there's more I want to do. And so it really helped me. When you number your days, you realize your days are special. I remember I used to go out when my health was better. I would go out every Saturday and knock on doors and talk to people about Jesus. And I was going to a church. I was helping a church in Smyrna. And Frank Drinkwine was there at the church, and he was working and serving. And we were going out one Saturday, and he said, Brother Carl, I just want to ask you something. Why do you do this? He said, you come out here every Saturday. You don't even go to this church. He said, I can't figure out why you do this. And I thought nobody'd asked me that. And I said, I guess I don't know how many Saturdays I got left, so I better use them for the Lord. Now, I tell you, when you face death, it will change the way you think. And with my health problems, it's changed the way I think for the good. And so today, and I know people don't like to talk about death. We try to hide and cover it up. But I tell you, you got to think about it. It's a reality. And if you're not thinking about it, that ain't going to change it. Every one of us is going to die unless Jesus comes back. We're going to die. I don't know how much time you've got left. But we're going to talk about dying, okay? And I think that's a good thing. And I think you need to face it. And death is nothing you need to be afraid of if you're a Christian. Really, it's not. But let's read the 39th Psalm, beginning at verse 4. Lord, make me to know my end and the measure of my days, what it is, that I may know how frail I am. And let me tell you something, we're frail. Behold, thou hast made my days as a handbreadth. It's like my days are like the length of my hand. Compared to eternity, our life is brief. Compared to human history, our lifespan is just a blimp on the radar screen. My age is nothing before thee. Verily, every man at his best state is altogether vanity. And then it says, Selah. Now again, we don't like to talk about death, but death is a reality. And we try to cover it with flowers at a funeral and all, but let me encourage you, don't be afraid of it. Face it. And be ready to die. The best way to live is to be ready to die. And there's a song, there's a couple of songs out called Live Like You're Dying. And I tell you, it's a shame that we have to get sick to really know how to live. And sometimes we're too sick to live like we want to live. But today I want to talk to you about living with urgency. Every day is a precious gift. Don't waste it. Every day God has given you, and it is precious, and value it, and love it, and enjoy it, and squeeze all the life out of it that you can. Now, you can go online. I did this week. You can go online and put in some information, and it'll tell you when you're going to die. I'm going to die October 15th, 2025. Now, I'd take that. That's 18 more years. And I would take that. Of course, it didn't ask me if I had any diseases or anything. So I don't really go by that. But the truth is, I could die. I don't know. I could die today. I could die tomorrow. You could die tomorrow. We don't know. Life is frail. I may be pulling out of the driveway here and a car hit me and I could die. Or I may be at home today or before while I'm preaching. I could have a heart attack. I know of a preacher who did that. He was preaching, fell over dead while he was preaching. And I may have cancer and not know it. I may have prostate cancer or something. I don't know. Don't think I do. But I don't know. You may have it and not know it. I could be sitting in my recliner saying this is the safest place on earth. I don't have to worry. And a spider bite me. And I get poisoned and die. You never know. The possibilities are endless. I mean, there's crazy ways people can die. And you can die. You say, oh, great, I came to church today and you're going to talk about dying. Well, listen, if you get that settled, you'll be glad you got it settled. Knowing, hallelujah, I'm going to heaven. Now, let me say this. Death is not all bad. As a matter of fact, most of death, if you're a Christian, is good. There are some negatives. One thing, death is going to usher me into the presence of Jesus. And for 39 years, He's been my Lord. I preached about Him for 39 years. I sing about Him. I talk about Him. I go to bed at night thinking about Him. I wake up in the morning thinking about Him. I love Jesus, and I'm going to get to see Him. So death is going to usher me to Jesus. That's a good thing. Death is going to take me to my reward. Jesus said, lay up your treasure in heaven. I don't have a lot of treasure down here. And I'm glad I chose to put it up there. When I was younger, I might not have been as thrilled, but I tell you, when you get older and you know that your time's short, I'm like, thank God I live for up there. And that's where I want to go, up there and be with my treasure. That's where my investments are. I've never had a new car. We don't have a whole lot of money. This morning I got up and I had no cash, except for my tithe, and I wasn't about to eat breakfast on my tithe money. I would have a heart attack for sure if I did that. And so I went in the kitchen, and I was going to get the skillet out and make me some eggs. And Kathy said, what are you doing? I said, I'm going to make me some breakfast. I don't have any cash. I could have put it on credit card, but I didn't want to do that either. And she said, you going to mess up my kitchen? I said, I'm just going to cook a couple of eggs, and She said, yeah, you cooked eggs the other day, and I had to clean it up. And she said, why don't you just go to Steak and Shake like you always do? And I said, I don't have any cash. And she said, go get my purse. And I'm like, amen. Hallelujah, God answers prayer. And she gave me money to go eat. Isn't God good? But I tell you what, I don't have a lot down here, but I'm going up there. It's like a fellow told his wife, he said, honey, I want you to get all my money, put it in a suitcase, and put it in the attic, and when I die, I'm going to grab it on the way up. And he died. And she went up in the attic and saw that suitcase full of money, and she said, I told him he should have put it in the basement. But let me tell you something. You can't take it with you. You can't give it after you're dead. You say, yeah, you can. I got it in my will. You know, that's like saying, I'll give it when you pry it from my cold, dead hand. No, you got to give it while you're alive. And then you're sending it up there ahead of you. You can't take it with you, but you can send it. So death is going to lead me to my treasure. Death is going to take me to people that I've won to Christ. I was thinking of this recently. God knows when I stand before Him, I'm going to wish I won more, wish I'd done more. But I'm thankful that I have done some. And there's some people up there I've led to Christ. There's some people already up there right now. I had a man I led to Christ years ago before I went off to Bible college. And he got saved, and I'm not going to tell you the whole story, but he got miraculously saved. I mean, God changed his life. And I went off to college, but I'd come home at Christmas time. And, you know, I'd see him, and he'd see me, and he'd just start crying. Now, I know I ain't much to look at, but to cry. But he would cry, and he'd come and hug me and say, I'm so thankful you told me about Jesus. And I'd come home maybe during the summer for vacation, and he'd hug me, Mr. Simmons. And he was an old man who was but very emotional. And I thought, when I get to heaven, I'm going to see Mr. Simmons up there. I'm going to have some crowns. Now, I know there's some I won't get, but I believe I'll get a few. And I want to go up there and get them. So death is not all bad. Death is a good thing in some ways. Now, here's the negative. Death separates us from our loved ones. If I die, some of you are not going to see me for a while. Jesus told his disciples, he said, I got to go away, but I'll come again. Let not your heart be troubled. So, death separates us, but it's just for a moment. It ain't going to be long. It's going to be a short time, and then we'll all be together. Wouldn't that be great? There'll be a great reunion time. So don't be afraid of death. Face it and be ready for it. Death is not an enemy. He can be a good friend because he's going to take me to Jesus. So, life is brief. It could come at any time. Now, today I'm going to be a little different. I'm going to share a few little things. Then we're going to watch about a 7-minute video of a lady who's about to die. A lady who is terminal, and they've told her she just has a short time to live. She's probably dead now because this interview was a few years ago. But it lasts about 7 minutes. And when I was studying for this and researching, I listened to a lot of people who were about to die. And it affected me. And I thought, I want everybody to hear it. And so we'll watch that video. Some of the questions you might have a hard time hearing, but what she says you can hear. And she has 2 little girls, and it'll help your perspective. So I'm hoping in this next series we can change your life, change your priorities, change the way you look at things. Listen, you better enjoy life now. You know, one time I was talking to some old friends who I went to college with. Now, when we went to college, it was hard. First of all, I went up there with Yankees. Do you know how hard it is to live with Yankees? I mean, those people eat the turnips and throw away the greens. What a waste. God's going to judge them for that, I believe. But we were up there and we were talking and we were saying, you remember when we were in college? Yeah. We were so poor we couldn't pay attention. We barely made it. It was rough. We worked and had to go to school and it was tough. And we were laughing and enjoying. And you know what we're talking about most of the time? The hard times. And I was thinking, today we're talking about how good it was yesterday. Now, when we were there, we didn't think it was that good. And there's a little saying that I use that I need to enter into premature nostalgia. One day, today is going to be the good old days. So why don't I just enjoy it today? I mean, just enjoy. Whatever you're going to do today, just say, I'm going to enjoy it. We are so busy griping and complaining. The Bible says that the Jewish people at one point said, in the morning they said, would God it was evening. And in the evening they said, would God it was morning. Most people wish they were somewhere else. Most people wish they were doing something else. Most people wish there was another time. Why don't you just enjoy today? There's something good today. So let's get into this, and we're going to be brief, then we're going to watch a video, okay? Listen to what James says. He was saying, some of you say, today or tomorrow I will go into such a city and continue there a year and buy and sell and get gain. Whereas you know not what shall be on the morrow. For what is your life? It is even a vapor that appears for a little time and then vanishes away. You know what he's saying? Don't boast about what you're going to do tomorrow. Your life is just a vapor. It's going to be gone before you know it. It doesn't seem like no time till I was skinny and had a bushy head of hair. And it was good hair too. I wish some of y'all don't believe that, do you? Man, I had a bushy head of hair. When I get to heaven, I'm going to have it again. Looking forward to that. See, not only is my treasure in heaven, my hair's in heaven. Amen. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Just enjoy today. Somebody was griping to me about how tough they had it. And I said, you got food today? He said, yeah. Got a nicer car than I got. Got a nicer house than I got. And I said, well, you got food to eat and God's taking care of you today, hasn't he? Well, why don't you rejoice? He said, well, what am I going to do tomorrow? I said, don't worry about tomorrow until tomorrow. Isn't it funny where God gives you enough for today? Jesus said, don't worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow will take care of itself. There's some people that's just so nervous. And people think, well, if I just have enough money to put in the bank, I can relax. No, you can't. You'll be more worried than you were before. I know people that's got money and they're scared to death they're going to lose it. In this economy, where do I put my money? Should I buy gold, or is gold a bubble? Is it going to burst? Put it in real estate and it burst. Market's been doing pretty good. Put it in the market right now, but they're talking like it may go down. Went down this week. Where do I put my money? Well, I tell you a surefire place you can put it. When you help other people, you're putting it up in heaven. Jesus said, when you help the least of these, my brother, you've helped me. Find somebody that needs some help and help them. And I tell you, there's nothing you can buy that'll give you more pleasure. There's no toy that'll make you feel better than if you help somebody. Now, again, you just don't help everybody. You pray and ask God to show you who to help. But when he shows you, you help them. And God will bless you. Now, what do we need to do to live with urgency? Real quick, okay? Number one, turn your whens into nows. You know what we're used to saying? Here's a saying we used to say this. When my boat comes in, I'm going to do this, that, and the other. When my boat comes in, I know people have been waiting on that boat all their lives. It ain't come in. When I get caught up, I'm going to tithe. When I get caught up, I'm going to help somebody. When I do that, when my kids grow up, then I'll be free. You ain't never free. My kids grow up, I can do what they want, what I want to. No, they'll be there asking for more money. When this happens, when that happens, and they spend most of their life wishing that something would happen And I tell you what, some of it will never happen. So you got to turn your whens into nows. You got to do it now. Live in the moment. Enjoy today. Enjoy where you are. I knew people. I had friends that when they get married, they'd go and they'd get their credit card and they'd buy all new furniture, new car. They had it all. We went to Salvation Army and got our furniture. I remember we had an old rocker recliner. It was gold. It was gaudy looking ugly, but it was cheap. And we had that sitting in the living room. And I love sitting in that chair. But one day the spring broke on it, and if you sat in it and leaned back, you'd flip over. But God had gifted me with the ability to fix things. So I got a tennis ball, and I got under that chair, and I pushed it up where that spring was, and I jammed that tennis ball in there. And it worked. You could sit in a chair and not tip over. One time, years ago, this was maybe 25, 30 years ago, I'd asked Brother Al Henson to come and preach for us. And he was gracious enough to come and preach. And he was in our home. And he sat down in that chair. And when he leaned back, that tennis ball shot out of there like a cannon. And that chair flipped back. And I tell you what, it was worth the price of the chair just to see that, man. Edit that from the tape, okay? I don't want... But I tell you, we didn't have a whole lot, but I tell you what, we enjoyed life. I can look at my life, and God has blessed us. We've got a nice home. We've lived in some really bad places in my life. But this is really nice, and I'm thankful for it. But you know what? I had as much fun, enjoyed life when we was in that little apartment in the ghetto. Really. It is so overrated. You think you have a bigger house, you'll be happier. If you're not happy now, you won't be happy with a big house. Happiness has nothing to do with your bank book or how much money you got. And you'll never have enough money where you're secure. Your security better be in Jesus Christ. He'll take care of me. He'll take care of you. He has for 39 years. What's it going to take for you to trust God? How long has He got to take care of you before you'll finally believe Him? Enjoy today. Number 2, let me move on. Turn your good intentions into actions. Now, a lot of us intend on doing some good things. You know, someone said the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And so you intend to do good things. And sometimes what we think we are in our mind is what we intend to do, not what we really do. So you got to do it now. You say, one day I'm going to sit down with my loved one and tell them how I really feel. How many funerals have I conducted? I remember one funeral down in Georgia, and this lady came to me, and her daddy died. And she said, me and my daddy had a fuss a couple years ago, and I never made it right. Do you think my daddy knows I love him? She said, I wish I could tell him, but he's dead now. And I tried to comfort her and say, I believe he knows. But, you know, when I left, I said, we shouldn't leave any doubt. We better tell people today, now. You want us to teach somebody today? You better do it now. One day I'm going to teach my kids how to cook. You better do it today. One day I'm going to serve the Lord. Better do it today. One day I'm going to give and help people. You better do it today. One day I'm going to get saved. Listen, I'm convinced so many people, Satan's deceived, and they think they're going to get saved. But they're going to keep putting it off, putting it off, putting it off until it's too late and they die without Jesus. It's so sad. Turn your good intentions into actions. Don't wait. Do it now. Do it now. And then last of all, turn everything over to Jesus. I'm so glad I did that. Now, I've been saved 39 years. And there's some of the time I wasn't fully surrendered to Jesus. And I regret that. But I can tell you most of the time I was surrendered to Jesus. And I can tell you this, the older I get and the closer I get to meeting Jesus, the more I love Him, the more I want to serve Him, and the more I've given Him everything. I tell you what, nothing else really matters. It really doesn't. All those things we worry about doesn't even matter. Give yourself fully to Jesus. Do you know what I think a danger in our churches is? We have people that have given a little bit to Jesus, but not everything. Oh, we're walking through life and we're saying, I'm going to give a little bit to Jesus. If I go to church, people like it when you go to church. I'll be respected. And so I'm going to go to church, and I tell you what, I'm going to buy one of those caps that says, Jesus is Lord. And I'm going to get a button, what would Jesus do? That's really not, why not just get the t-shirt? And we're just walking through life, got a little bit of Jesus. When you get a flu shot, you know what they give you? A little bit of the flu. And it's supposed to keep you from getting a real flu. Some people have a little bit of Jesus, but they really haven't gotten all of Jesus, and some of them don't really have Jesus. And so they're going through life thinking everything's fine, and they're walking in dangerous territory. Hey, how you doing? Offering plate comes by, let me put in a few little dollars. I'll tip God, that'll keep Him happy for a little while. God ought to be so thankful because I came to church today. Wow, you did God a big favor, didn't you? I got a little bit of Jesus, enough to look good. And I tell you, some of our young people, it's almost trendy now. I know a young lady who's, she wears the t-shirts and the hats and the things, and she's already had one illegitimate child and living with another man out of wedlock and still advertising for Jesus. It'd be better off if she didn't. I tell you what will advertise Jesus better than a t-shirt is holiness. Say, Brother Carl, you preach holiness, this church will never grow. Well, then it'll never grow. When I stand before God, He's not going to say, how many did you have? He's going to say, what kind did you have? It's not what sort, it's not what size, it's what sort that God's going to judge us for. And we'll stand before God and be judged for our works, not for our sin. Our sin's already been judged if you're a Christian. If you're saved, you will never be judged for your sin, but you will be judged for your work. Was it sincere? Did you love Jesus with all your heart? Were you doing it for Jesus? Were you living your life for Jesus? Most people don't even give Jesus a thought. They think more about their bank book than they do this book right here. A little bit of Jesus. I want to show you this video and we're going to close. It's about 7 minutes. It's a lady, again, some of the questions you might not can hear real well, but you can hear her answer. And this lady is pretty young lady. I think she's in her 40s.
Well, I'm kind of every breast cancer survivor's worst nightmare, really, because I was first diagnosed in 2004 with stage 1. And I came back with my nodes clean and everything, and I did chemo, and I did the double mastectomy. I did everything right. But for some odd reason, the cancer went to the lymph node behind my breastbone, which is practically unheard of. And so it was allowed to grow there for several years. It didn't cause me any problems. And now it's in my bones, so I'm considered stage 4. And unless there's a miracle, I'm going to be going home soon.
So when the doctors say soon, what does that mean?
It really kind of depends on how long the chemo works. I know statistically I won't see my 45th birthday probably. I mean, that's, just to be expected. But my particular tumor is a level 3, which means that it's very aggressive and it's kind of chemo resistant to begin with. So it just kind of really depends on how long treatment works. Because after a while your body develops a resistance and it just stops working, which is kind of what's happening to Mom at this point.
So what's like in your own faith journey? Because we know, God can heal.
Absolutely.
What kind of ups and downs do you have in your faith through all this?
I've been all over the place. I think especially the first couple of weeks after I found out, I would cry all the time at the drop of a hat, and I don't know if I ever was mad at God, but I didn't get it. It doesn't seem like I'm done. I'm too young, And, but I trust Him. I trust Him, and I know that He is good. And I know He loves me. And so, even though I don't understand it, I trust Him. And I'm kind of double-minded about it because there's part of me that is kind of excited in a weird way, because I know where I'm going and it's going to be a great place. But there's this other part of me that's not ready to go yet. I'm too young, and I feel for the people that I'm leaving behind. Especially my girls. Probably not going to see them grow up, I feel cheated out of grandbabies. I feel cheated out of weddings. I feel, I'm double-minded. I have this argument with myself. 2 different feelings about this same thing.
So when did you find out? You thought you were okay, and then you found out?
In May. In May. Yeah, I'd had some problems with my shoulder. I couldn't figure out. I thought I'd pulled it, and I kind of let it go for a couple of months. And then I found the lump. There was a lump in my shoulder because by then it had gotten into my lymph system, and the lymph nodes were all inflamed in there, and that's what was causing the problem.
So before May, you were just going on like life wasn't.
I had just finished up with everything in like January with all the reconstruction, because it's like a 2-year process. By the time you do the chemo and the mastectomy and all the reconstruction, I was just done in January, and I just felt like I was getting my life back. And then 5 months later, I just thought I was done.
How is a day different now because of what you've experienced?
I feel like I want to be more present in the moment, because I don't have very many moments left. And so I try to enjoy every moment. And even in the mundane things, that's the harder thing to do, but even in the mundane things, I try to just enjoy it, even if that means, talking to God or singing to Him, But I try not to take anything for granted, because we're not guaranteed anything, And I know I don't have many moments left, so I want to enjoy every bit of it.
It's had to have changed your relationship with your husband and with your girls.
Absolutely.
Can you tell me about that?
It's drawn my husband and I think, a lot closer. I I know that man loves me. There is no doubt in my mind that that man loves me. I mean, he just puts up with so much. And he's there. And he thinks I'm beautiful, even when I'm bald. You know? And he's a good man. And I feel like I can talk to him about anything. I mean, we've had some really deep conversations. Things that we probably wouldn't have had I not been sick. And with my girls, I think I'm just more in tune with them, you know. I'm not as likely to shove them off, you know. Sometimes kids can be kind of annoying, you know. And but I'm more likely to just take that in, drink them in, you know. And enjoy what they're telling me, and even if it's about SpongeBob, you know. Just enjoy them. Yeah.
What's different? Because how are you living life different?
I mean, urgently wise.
Yeah.
You know, I think those things that I thought were urgent aren't all that urgent. You know, they're not, I don't know. I wanted to go to this place. I wanted to go here and travel there, and I wanted to do this and do that. And while those things are important, I find that they're not what I'm missing. You know, they're, like you said, the skydiving thing. And what's important is relationships, you know. And the rest is not all that big of a deal. It really is. It's relationships.
Mm-hmm. You've always impressed me as someone, and mostly through Amy, that really seems to be godly and have an understanding. So you may not have struggled with some of the things, but I kind of want to help get this across to some people who do. A lot of people are so driven to achieve and let's get things and have material possessions. Well, what are your thoughts today about possessions?
That's not important at all, because you can't take it with you anyway. I mean, really, why work yourself to death over something that you can't even take with you? You know? And I feel for people who don't have a relationship with God and they're going through this. I don't know how they did it. I really don't. And I even feel for those people who maybe do have a relationship but don't really know Him. I mean, know Him to the very core of your being. Know that He is good. Know that He loves you, because sometimes it doesn't seem like that. It doesn't seem like He's good. And it doesn't seem like He loves me. You know, but since I know that with every inch of me, you know, that's my hope and that's my comfort. And I really do feel for anyone who does not have that foundation.
See, I've been listening to some of these interviews. There's a girl who's 17 years old, and she has just a short time to live. And it's amazing to hear these people, and I'm learning from them. I'm learning you better enjoy today, because you don't know if you've got tomorrow. You better do what you need to do today. Is there somebody you need to tell them you love them? Tell them today. Don't send them flowers after they're dead. They can't smell them then. They can't see their beauty. It doesn't help their day. Why don't you send them some flowers while they're alive? Why don't you do what you need to do today? Now, I hope as we continue on this journey that it'll change your life. It'll change the way you deal with your kids. It'll change your marriage. It'll change your relationship with your money. It'll change your relationship at work. It'll change what's important. Even the decisions you make. Sometimes we got to make decisions that we could ask ourselves, what's this going to matter 50 years from now? If I had 30 days to live, what decision would be important? And I believe it can change your life. So let's let it do that. So we got 30 days from today. That means July 4th, it's over for all of us. Amen. But think like that. Think, what would I do? And today, enjoy today. Help somebody today. Do something nice for somebody. It'll make you feel good. We got people, they Let me get all I can. The more I get, the happier I'll be. Somebody said, there's a saying, whoever dies with the most toys wins. No, you lose. The person who can give it away, he wins. One day we will all stand before God, and God will say, I gave you life. What did you do with it? What did you do with it? I know some people that most of their time is spent sitting in a recliner looking at a box. And God says, I gave you life. And I blessed you. Some people are blessed with money. What did you do with it? Did you stick it in your pockets and hoard it? Or did you help people with it? Listen, I'm a capitalist. I believe you ought to make all you can make so that you can help all the people you can help. So let's live for today. Let's live with urgency. Let's bow our heads for prayer.